Hi und herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen Part von Tangle. Wir haben, glaube ich, die Mordwaffe gefunden. Sally ist da schon so am Machen, aber ich will mir noch mich ein bisschen umgucken. Zum Beispiel das Bild hier finde ich ganz
Who are all the
interessant.
people in this photo?
Not sure, but it looks like someone didn't like them very much. Their eyes have all been crossed out.
Ja, lass mal gucken. Ein Foto in einem stabilen Holzrahmen. Es ist staubig und scheint mehrere Jahre alt zu sein. Auf einem Messingschild am unteren Rahmen steht die Repräsentanten der Villa Mystique. Im Foto sind 2 Frauen und 3 Männer abgebildet, ja, die verschiedenste Kleidung tragen. Bei allen 5 wurden die Gesichter grob mit Tinte übermalt. Okay. Sagt mir jetzt gar nichts. Aber okay.
That photo is important. I'm sure of it.
Da bin ich mir auch sicher, aber ich bin mir noch nicht so sicher, wie.
Coffee table, half empty wine bottle, lamp left on. I'm gonna say someone's been using this room.
Ja, glaube ich auch.
Someone complacent enough to leave their notebook lying around.
Mehrere Seiten wurden herausgebissen, noch ein paar verblieben. 5 fünfter Repräsentant gefunden, endlich. Ich kann nicht behaupten, dass ich die Sache optimistisch angegangen bin, aber ich war dennoch enttäuscht. Er ist genau wie all die anderen. Habe meinen Mystiden-Freund für Experiment mit ins Musikzimmer genommen. Es funktioniert vielleicht sogar zu gut. Das Labor war eine weitere Enttäuschung. All die Mühen und für was? Er denkt noch kurzsichtiger, als ich erwartet habe. Bin nach ganz unten gegangen. Hübsche Aussicht. Es ist praktisch nichts mehr übrig, aber ich habe gefunden, was ich brauche. Die ist reingekommen, sie war vorsichtig, nichts wurde bewegt, aber ich weiß es. Die Zeit ist gekommen. Welche Zeit? Ist euch klar, dass da eine Tür ist?
Built into the wall.
Ach, ein
It's still
Verbrennungsding.
pretty hot.
Is there anything left inside?
It's mostly ashes, but yeah, there's something.
Eine Feder! Nur ein Haufen Staub und Asche. Zwischen der Asche befinden sich was? Mehrere schwarze Knöpfe. Also, man kann noch rote Fetzen Stoff ausmachen. Ja, und eine Feder. Das ist eine Feder, Leute.
It's a wooden pinboard, hung up on one of the chains.
Looks like there's a couple of things missing from it.
1, 2, 3. Ein großes Blatt Papier wurde daran festgemacht. 3 Linien gehen von dem fehlenden Teil der Mitte aus. Auf einem kleinen Blatt darunter sind Zeichnungen, die... Das ist doch Dings. Die der Silhouette einer Figur im Umhang ähneln. Aber hier... Oh, wieso kann ich die Sachen nicht kombinieren?
Someone's been using this room.
Okay, wir werden das Ding jetzt antitschen. Ich habe so Angst davor.
You know, in any normal room, this thing would be my main concern. In here, though, it barely makes the top 3. You know, in any normal. In here, though.
Okay. Ich dachte schon, das wäre ein lebendiger
Snake?
Worm?
That's
Seeschlange.
the one.
Okay. Wir haben jetzt schon so ein bisschen was, ne? Das... Eine Waffe.
Was someone trying to hide it? From us?
I don't know, but it looks incomplete to me. I want to know what happened to the rest of it. Where are the other parts?
Wir haben sie schon entdeckt.
We found them already.
Ja, die Spule.
I think that might attach the crossbow, but not this part of the crossbow.
Oh, sorry. So. Dann kommt das dahin. Und hier kommt der Pfeil hin. Richtig?
What do you make
Richtig.
of it?
Ich find's
Not
gut.
sure. Let's keep an open mind.
You don't think the crossbow is the murder weapon?
Oh no, the crossbow is definitely the murder weapon. But that doesn't mean we've solved the mystery.
Wieso? Ist das schon mal richtig, oder nicht?
Another photograph.
Their faces are all crossed out with some kind of black ink.
That's weird.
Oh, you think so?
No, I mean, something I just realized. Sally, did we meet any of these people here at Tangle Tower?
Well, the woman on the left looks a little like Poppy, but her style is way different. And at first I thought the guy on the top right was Felix, but now that I look at it, I don't think it is him.
I don't get it. This room is in the original building plans for the mansion, but nowadays it's some big secret?
It's not a secret to everybody. At least one other person still knows about this room.
The way the notebook was left out on the table makes me think it's someone who has the room all to themselves.
Whoever it was, they left more than just the notebook. There's a whole design project on this pinboard. Feels like someone put quite a bit of effort into it.
It's a shame there are things missing from it. I'm betting it'd make more sense if we could see it all together.
That might not be impossible, you know.
Also hier kommt auf jeden Fall das hin. Das weiß ich. Aber hier weiß ich es nicht.
That's definitely the right kind. None of the pages match up to what's on the pinboard.
Aber wir haben das nicht auf der Pinboard. Wir haben das nicht, oder? Doch, hier. Wenn wir jetzt auch ermordet.
The painting from Freya's room and those sketches. Did Freya design Detective Hawkshaw's clothes? What kind of sense does that make?
I don't think that's why Freya made that painting, but it may have been why somebody took a photo of it to use as reference. And as for those sketches of Hawkshaw, I don't think Freya actually drew them. It was somebody else, someone with less of a talent for art.
Doesn't exactly narrow it down. Should we go ask Detective Hawkshaw about all this?
I'm not sure. I still don't know what's really going on.
Ja, und nun? Der Mord. Vielleicht wurde Freya gar nicht ermordet, sondern Detektiv Hawkshaw ist Freya.
Time to solve this.
Ich hab keine Ahnung.
All right, break out the notebook. Time to put it all together.
Let's start with this. It's an arrow for the crossbow, and it matches Freya's wound. It's the murder weapon. I'm sure of it.
Despite the fact it doesn't have any blood on it, and it wasn't found anywhere near the crime scene.
Mm-hmm. It was cleaned, then it was hidden. I don't think anybody expected us to get down to that room at the bottom of the lake.
Okay, so Freya was shot by a crossbow. Where was it fired from?
Vielleicht hinter? Nee, das macht hinter gar keinen Sinn. Von vorne macht es keinen Sinn, weil sie war von Dings. Von oben? Wenn sie von hinten... Die muss von oben erschossen worden sein, weil von vorne geht nicht, weil da war die Leinwand. Und von hinten geht auch nicht, dann wäre sie ja nach vorne gefallen. Also vielleicht von oben.
It was fired from above Freya.
Above, huh?
Yeah, our diagram doesn't show everything. Let's add in the rest of the crime scene.
The attic.
Perfect hiding place. We even found a part of the murder weapon up there. The reel was used to pull the arrow back up through the crack in the floorboards.
Explains why we never found a weapon at the crime scene, I guess.
The murderer must have dropped the reel in the attic. I'm guessing they were in a hurry to escape.
Wait. The arrow was fired through the crack in the floorboards?
Yeah, it's directly above where Freya was found lying on her back.
Nope. Doesn't add up. It would have missed her if she was still standing up by the painting.
Ah, right.
Unless...
Es sei denn, Freya lag bereits auf den Rücken.
Freya was already lying on her back before the arrow was fired.
I think so too.
Sie war ohnmächtig?
Fallen unconscious.
Something in the room caused Freya to fall unconscious.
Ich hätte gedacht, jetzt die Farbdämpfe.
Fumes.
I'm not sure about that.
Me neither.
Something in the room caused Freya to fall unconscious.
Ah, das Grammophon?
Right.
But the gramophone by itself can't do that.
Vielleicht Etwas, was ich im
There's
Grammophon
something
finde.
in the gramophone.
Mm-hmm. Something small.
Etwas Kleines. Ich hätte jetzt gedacht, das.
That's not it. That's not it.
Nee, hier auf jeden Fall nicht.
That's not it.
Mensch, mach mich nicht wahnsinnig.
That's not it. That's not it.
Was war im Grammophon versteckt? Ja, die Kassetten, oder nicht? Federn?
That's not it.
Ich weiß es nicht. Ich weiß es nicht.
That's not it.
Ich habe keine Ahnung.
That's not it.
Ah.
That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it.
Was war im Grammophon versteckt? Vögel im Käfig.
That's not it.
Ich weiß es wirklich nicht.
That's not it. That's not it. That's not it.
Pointer's
Käfer?
research says it can emit an incredibly loud hiss when it feels threatened. Poppy and Fitz both said they heard a loud noise around the time of the murder. Neither of them had any idea what it was.
This seems a little far-fetched. Is it really loud enough to knock someone out?
No, I don't think so, not by itself. But don't forget, it was being amplified by the shape of the gramophone. I don't think we're purely talking about volume either. It might just be a particular type of frequency.
This is getting kinda scientific. Since when do you know anything about the effects of weaponized audio frequency?
I don't, but I think someone else does. Do you remember that statue we found in the music room? The horn it's playing. It's a pretty similar shape to the one on the gramophone. That broken glass isn't there on accident. This is someone's science experiment.
Thinking about it, Pointer said he saw Flora was knocked out too. I guess they were both in range of the noise, although Pointer might have been lying.
Personally, I think he was telling the truth about that. It's pretty clear a powerful frequency did pass through Flora's tower. Caused quite a bit of damage too.
Ja, stimmt, die Farbe ist doch kaputt gegangen, oder nicht? Ja, doch,
Those
ist es.
cracks didn't appear out of nowhere. Freya's paints, the pink cassette tape, and the gramophone itself, they all sustained similar damage while they were in that room.
That's some seriously powerful vibration, enough to crack metal, enough to knock someone out all the way across a room.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't get. If the frequency was so powerful and had such a big range, how did the murderer pull it off? Wouldn't they have been in range too? Think about it. They can't have been much further away from the gramophone than Flora was.
Er hat sich beschützt.
They protected themselves.
How?
Mit den Kopfhörern.
These are some pretty heavy-duty earmuffs. I think they'd be enough to block out the sound.
Right. Let's go over everything from the start. 1. Freya is painting Flora's portrait. They're listening to music on the gramophone.
2. The murderer is hiding in the attic, wearing earmuffs.
3. The golden beetle starts to emit its hissing noise.
Hold on. How did it know?
The beetle?
Yeah, what triggered it at that particular moment? Pointer's research said it makes the noise when it feels threatened.
Not sure. Maybe something in the music?
Maybe.
4. Freya and Flora are both knocked unconscious by the vibrations. Freya lands on her back. She drops the brush and palette by her side.
5. The murderer fires the crossbow directly downwards.
6. The arrow is pulled back up on the reel.
7. The murderer leaves the attic, presumably.
8. The door is kicked down. Fitz and Poppy enter the room.
Aber dann hätte man noch die Feder gefunden.
There's something bothering me.
Mich auch.
What?
I just want to check something. Let's go back to the crime scene.
Weil, ich meine, da haben wir die Feder. Irgendwann hätte doch der Mörder die Feder auch mitnehmen müssen.
The answer is in the painting. I'm sure of it.
Gemälde. Früher hat das Blut selbst auf das Gemälde gemalt. Ihre rote Farbe wurde mit Blut ausgetauscht. Flora hält kein Messer. In Wahrheit ist es ein rot-weißer Tintenklecksfeder. Okay, so weit sind wir noch nicht.
I can see the stars.
Grammophon. Pfiffi sagt, dass das Grammophon innerhalb der vergangenen 2 Tage beschädigt wurde. Ursprünglich gehörte es Poppys Mutter, doch Freya benutzt es häufig beim Malen.
It's dark.
Mordopfer. Der rote Farbtopf gehört ursprünglich Felix. Er hat ihn mit Freyas Farbtopf ausgetauscht.
It's dark.
Also da sind wir wieder bei links. Ich komme nicht drauf. Ich komme nicht drauf, Leute.
The answer is in the painting. I'm sure of it.
Flora scheint ein Messer zu halten. Die rote Substanz auf den hat sich als Blut herausgestellt. Es waren 2 Blümchen.
The plant. It's in the book.
What?
Look.
Der Tintenklecks ist ein erstaunlich cleverer Vogel mit beachtlicher Lebensdauer, selbst für einen Mystidenvogel. Andere Vögel sind ihm gegenüber oft feindlich gesinnt und der Tintenklecks verbringt den Großteil seines Lebens alleine. Er ist sehr wählerisch und frisst gewöhnlich nur die Samen der Tantum amica. Abgebildet, ja. Benny sagt, das Buch wäre überholt, da dieser Vogel schon seit Jahren ausgestorben ist. Ja, aber wie kann er denn ausgestorben sein?
The plant. It's in the book.
What?
Look.
Schau nur, ja. Hat was mit der Pflanze zu tun, das ist mir schon klar irgendwie, aber... Wie aktiviere ich das jetzt? Hallo? Hab's doch. Steht im Buch, ja. Ich hab's mitgekriegt, aber... Warte, muss ich die Pflanze finden? Was ist das vielleicht? Pflanze. Ich raff's nicht. Hallo? Es steht im Buch, sagte. So, dann öffnet mir das hier.
plant. It's
What?
Look.
Steht im Buch, ja, aber was steht denn im Buch? Ich meine, ich sehe ja, dass da die Pflanze ist, so, und, ne? Aber raffen tue ich es trotzdem nicht. Hm. Die ist abgebildet. Muss ich hier drauf drücken? Nee. Ich raff's nicht. Kann doch nicht wahr sein. Also ja, der zeigt mir jetzt die Pflanze an, aber ich habe die Pflanze nicht. Was willst du mir sagen, Spiel? Ich brauche nochmal Hilfe. Lass uns einen zweiten Blick auf die Hinweise im Turm werfen. Ja, da bin ich doch schon dabei. Da bin ich doch schon dabei. Easy peasy. Aber ich krieg's trotzdem nicht raus. Eieiei. Also sie sagt im Buch, so, wir haben das Büchlein hier. Und es geht halt um die Pflanze, soweit ich das jetzt legen kann. Versteht ihr, was ich meine? Und um die Feder. Aber wir haben ja im Prinzip hier die Feder. Geheime Forschung. Hm. Ich meine, das kann ja auch nicht die Top-Pflanze sein. Ich hätte jetzt erst gedacht,
The plant. It's
What?
Look.
es ist Vogelbuch. Ja, ich habe es begriffen. Wenn die sagt, das Buch wäre überholt, da dieser Vogel schon seit Jahren ausgestorben ist. So, wie geht's weiter? Und die Moral von der Geschichte, Penny hat gesagt, Penny hat gelogen. Das Vogelbuch. Aber was genau ist da jetzt das Problem? Ich verstehe das Problem nicht.
Freya, did you leave us a clue?
Ich weiß es nicht. Die rote Substanz auf der Palette und auf dem Farbe ist keine, sondern Blut, ja. Hm. Wie kommt es, dass alles verwischt ist, bloß gelb nicht? Ach, ich habe jetzt alles richtig angekreuzt oder angeklickt oder was? Und jetzt sagt Sally, der fehlende Hinweis.
So what's bothering you?
Something that's not here. The thing we didn't find. We know she was holding it during the painting.
Flora's ink dip feather?
It was here. In this room. Where'd it go?
Wir haben sie an einem anderen Ort
Found it
gefunden.
somewhere else.
Und zwar, hier.
were a little too late to save it.
So it was stolen from the crime scene and ended up in the incinerator down in the study.
Someone wanted to destroy it, I guess.
But how? How was it stolen from up here in Flora's tower?
Presumably, Flora dropped it when she fell unconscious.
Yeah, and then what? The murderer couldn't have stolen it if they were up in the attic.
So the question is, how could they steal something from a room they weren't able to access? The final clue about the crime scene. Freya left it for us right here. It's inside Flora's egg.
You think so?
Maybe not. Freya left it for us right here. It's in the unfinished painting. It's not quite a photo, but still, it's an image of the crime scene recorded just before the murder. If only she'd finished it. Then I could be totally sure.
It's true she never finished it, but she did intend to finish it.
Meaning?
We know more about the painting than what Freya actually got down on the canvas.
Wie hat Freya uns ihr Vorhaben auf das Gemälde gezeigt? Durch
That's not
Skizzen.
it.
Also,
That's not it.
wie hat Freya uns... Durch die gelbe Farbe.
Freya prepared all the colors she was going to need before she started painting.
Die gelbe Farbe ist keine Farbe, denn... Warte.
The yellow paint
Keine
isn't
Ahnung.
actually paint because the ink dip feather, which was part of Flora's dress.
Nee.
Nope.
Die gelbe Farbe war ein Fehler von Freya, denn... Eine Skizze von jemandem, der am Fenster sitzt.
Was a mistake by Freya because the sketch of something sitting in the window. Almost.
Passt.
Maybe just...
Ist keine Farbe, denn...
The yellow paint isn't actually paint because the sketch of something
Nee,
sitting
Quatsch.
in the window. Almost.
Passt.
Maybe just...
Wurde zum Malen benutzt, hiervon.
The yellow paint was going to be used to paint the sketch of something sitting in the window.
Es ist keine Pflanze, das ist ein Vogel. Es ist ein Piepmatz.
There she is, our little thief.
How long has it been there? Did it hear the whole conversation?
She did. But she's a very good listener.
Was machst du denn hier?
Well now, I think this has quite served its purpose, don't you?
Penny, why did you...
It's Penelope, if you don't mind. But before we begin, isn't there a certain formality demanding our attention?
Leslie, ihre Hände. Hab nix. Mit dem Spulendings da?
Lovely. Now, Tell me, what was it that drove you this far? I'm ever so curious.
Die Gerechtigkeit.
Justice for Freya.
Is that right? Interesting.
Why did you do it, Penny? What did Freya do to you?
Absolutely nothing.
So, what? You just hated her indiscriminately?
Freya Fellow was an inspiration to us all. She was possessed of a great energy, the volition to create something from nothing, the willpower to walk beyond her boundaries. She was truly free. Everything I couldn't be.
Also Eifersucht?
You know what? I just realized I actually have no idea who Penelope Pointer really is.
Weird, isn't it? Considering we've met her, what is it, 3 times now?
Exactly. How do we know this one isn't a disguise too?
You think you've already hollowed us out, don't you? Only a few short hours at Tangle Tower, and you feel like you've got everyone sussed. Unearthed every single one of our secrets. Nothing but bullet points for your notebook. Go on, indulge me. What does it say in your notes about Penelope Pointer?
Die ist einsam.
I suppose I can't argue with that, can I?
Penny, we only know what you choose to tell us, so why not help us out?
Very well. Penelope Pointer is actually not very important at all. She pales in comparison to those who came before her and to those that came after. Living at Tangle Tower, it is very difficult to attain the levels of self-realization you probably take for granted.
You sure this is a Tangle Tower thing, and not a you thing?
Perhaps you didn't notice. Not one of them is happy, not one.
So why stay? Why not just leave?
I thought she did leave. Penny, you said you traveled, didn't you?
I did. Many times I've walked away. It did not help me. You saw the family tree hanging in the grand hall, did you not?
Yeah, it lists a bunch of people who don't live here anymore.
A bunch of people who don't live here anymore. I couldn't have put it better myself. My mother, for one. My father, too. The other 2 Remingtons. Poppy's mother, Primrose. And her brother, Richard.
And Fitz's father.
That's 5. 5 people that might have lived here, but don't.
And that was the first question I wanted answered.
You wanted to know where they'd all gone?
More than that, I wanted to know if I belonged with them. I have no place here. Not among the Fellows, the Remingtons, or the Pointers. But I felt there must be a reason why everyone else left. Some common purpose they all shared. Perhaps it could be my purpose too.
So, what did you actually do about it?
Nothing I could do, at first. Nobody would tell me anything. The more questions I asked, the fewer answers I got. Then, I found it. I was 19. Same age Freya is now.
Found what?
Das
The
Arbeitszimmer.
study. The one hidden in the middle of the house. It's right next to a bedroom.
I'd hear voices at night. Deep ones. And the strangest thing, the wall behind my bed would get incredibly hot. For hours on end. The paint would peel. Wallpaper wouldn't stay up. I thought I was cursed. I thought it was something trying to break through. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I found my way in the same way you did. Once you know it's there, it's simple.
So, you got into the study and found the incinerator. That must have been a relief, right?
It was still warm when I found it. Then, I looked inside. Let's see how thorough you've been. Tell me, do you know what a misted is?
Misted?
What?
As I expected. After all, their connection to the Freya case is minimal, at least at the surface.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
It's a collective term, from before my time. Birds, insects, amphibians, anything living off the lake water. The mutation can take several generations, or it can happen overnight.
Wait, mystids, like cryptids, like Bigfoot or whatever.
A little egregious, isn't it? I suspect that was an intentional parallel. The main difference being mystids are perfectly real. They're just kept secret. Or at least, that was the original plan. As it happened, some got out. Quite a few got out.
How do you know all this?
When I entered the study at 19, I found a single object that rather changed my life. Something which answered my questions while at once creating all new ones.
Das Gruppenfoto?
The 5 missing family members standing together as a single unit, calling themselves the ambassadors of Misted Mansion.
So, the house was renamed from Misted Mansion to Tangle Tower?
And rightly so. The age of Misted Mansion is long past. When I looked inside the incinerator on my first visit to the study, I found nothing but ash. The afterimage of a bygone era denied to me in its entirety. The study, the room at the bottom of the lake itself, all empty shells. I felt my only hope lay with the ambassadors. If I could find them, maybe they'd share the family history that Flora and the others were trying so hard to forget.
How did you track them down?
It was tough. They'd taken almost everything. Books, maps, charts, the creatures themselves, all lost, taken away or destroyed. But I got lucky. I got a lead. I found one, and he led me to the rest.
And? What happened? Why'd you paint out all their faces?
They didn't help you either, did they?
19-year-old me had imagined they'd all left with a mission, a unified purpose, but they hadn't. They were, in fact, every bit as fractured as the people that still live here. Most of them had left tracking escaped mystids. Some claimed to be researchers, others little more than hunters. All 5, completely useless to me.
Even your own parents?
Eventually, I returned to Tangle Tower. I had nowhere else to go. I considered giving up, but instead, I made a decision. There was only one person at Tangle Tower still of interest to me. My dear Uncle Pointer had suddenly made a show of taking up astronomy. A fairly superficial charade. I don't think many people were fooled by it. But I knew it wasn't just a falsehood. It was a mask. Pointer had found something from the era of Misted Mansion.
Den komischen Dingsbums.
So where did he get the beetle?
I cannot be sure, but I theorize that he received it in the post.
In the post? From who?
Who can say? Someone outside Tangle Tower. But the thought that he would be in contact with such a person, all that time, I decided to take what was owed to me.
So you stole it.
Stealing the beetle turned out to be only the first step. Upon realizing it was gone, Pointer made little effort to disguise his frustration. I asked what was bothering him. He foresaw no risk in sharing a little of the truth with his niece. He told me he'd lost a rare treasure, something he'd been keeping safe. I suggested, innocently, that perhaps it was not lost. Perhaps it had been stolen. He was very ready to believe he'd been the victim of theft. When I offered to call in a private detective, he jumped on the idea. She arrived the next day. Hawkshaw prides herself on her punctuality, as you know.
Why, though? Why go through all that? The name, the costume, and everything?
It's somewhat sad to admit, but I had little use left for Penny Pointer as she was. Hawkshaw afforded me new advantages, opportunities.
But Didn't you have to pretend to be working for Professor Pointer?
Ah, well, that was one of the advantages. Pointer was in such a desperate state, he was finally willing to share some of his secrets. On the second day, Hawkshaw explained she needed to be able to search the secret laboratory. Pointer gave in and gave me the code for the harp statue. Reluctantly, but still.
So, you stole Pointer's research?
I would have done, if I'd found anything worth stealing. But he had made remarkably little progress, barely scratching the surface of the beetle's true mystery.
Which is?
Ha! It carries an exoskeleton approximately 90% identical to gold. But it's not the 90% I'm interested in. Did you ever question what exactly makes the water here so unique? Before Misted Mansion was built over the lake, before the lake was even a lake, Lord Remington and his wife built a small structure here, a research station, supposedly. Fast forward 2 or 3 generations, and as you saw for yourself, it's been mostly cleared out.
The ambassadors took everything when they left.
And everything they didn't take was burned in the incinerator. However, possessing additional insight, I found something the others had missed. It's not much, but I have what I need.
So, why isn't this the end of the story? Why did you stay? Why did you kill Freya?
Ist das euer Ernst? Die müssen es aber jetzt auch mal spannend machen hier.
Simply put, Freya was too good for me. It's my fault. I pushed her over the edge, unknowingly, but still, I take the blame.
What are you talking about?
Did you know I based the design for Hawkshaw on something Freya painted?
That's not right.
Wieso war doch richtig?
That's right. I had assumed it was purely abstract. I just thought it had a good energy. I later discovered it was a figure of some kind, something from Freya's recurring nightmare. For all her vitality, I think Freya was probably the most troubled of all of us. She was desperate to leave Tangle Tower, but she couldn't just walk away. For quite some time, she'd been trying to break into Pointer's laboratory. Freya and her friends were halfway through deciphering those symbols on the harp statue, I believe.
Why did she care about getting into Pointer's lab?
That's exactly what I wondered. At first, I thought perhaps she just wanted to free the beetles. She has a fondness for them. What Pointer was doing upset her significantly. But in fact, I think it was something else. I think she wanted to free Fiona. The real reason Freya was unable to leave Tangle Tower is that she could not get Fiona to agree to come with her. We're now firmly in the realm of speculation, but I think Freya felt that exposing the darker secrets of Tangle Tower, not just to the rest of the family, but to the world, would compromise all 3 families, and perhaps, somehow, free Fiona from the shackles of her inheritance. That was her plan anyway, but something happened before Freya could find her way into Pointer's laboratory.
She found her way into your study, found your notes, found that photograph. I'm willing to bet she put it all together quicker than we did.
So she worked out what had happened to the 5 ambassadors. Specifically, what you'd done to them when they refused to help you.
Freya had made a promise to paint Flora as a birthday gift, a parting gift no less. She'd be in a locked room, several hours away from her friends. It was my best chance.
But why hide in the attic? And why bother with the beetle at all?
The beetle in the gramophone wasn't for Freya. It was for Flora. She didn't deserve to be involved. She suffered enough. I couldn't get Flora out of the room, but if she could be unconscious, then she wouldn't have to witness anything.
Why the knife? The illusion of the painted knife with the blood.
That was for Fiona. And Poppy too, I suppose. Gave them something to focus on.
You mean it distracted them while you made your escape?
It helped them cope. The very idea of something abstract, something supernatural. I believe it made things marginally less painful for them, initially. Worked on you, too.
So why are you still here? Why not take your first chance and leave?
Ah, well, I've been waiting for an opportunity to get my beetle back. I'd really rather not leave without it.
Wait, it's still here?
It's still inside the gramophone.
What's going on?
Poppy, they are both awake.
I can see.
You two all right?
My head hurts. What happened to us?
You were both unconscious. 14 minutes by my count.
Really?
You're both fine. No injuries.
Was it the beetle? In the gramophone? I heard it through the ceiling in my room.
The exact same sound we heard before the murder.
I guess it must have been.
So how did we get down here? What happened to Penny?
Fit saved both of you, obviously.
When I reached Flora's tower, you were both unconscious, and Penny was crouched down beside you. She had her crossbow on her, but who knows? She may have just been checking you were both asleep.
Did you know that she was the murderer?
Poppy and Fifi suspected her. Apparently, they were pretty close to solving it themselves.
Fitz did not want to believe us, because he liked Penny. A lot.
But what happened? Fitz, what did she do when she saw you?
She jumped out the window.
What? Did she survive?
She did.
I heard something land in the garden outside my room, but by the time I got out there to check, she was already gone.
Hang on. Poppy, why do you have Penny's hat bird?
She left him behind. I found him sitting on the floor in the aviary, all by himself. Poor little thing. The mean lady didn't care about you at all, did she? No, she didn't.
I apologize. Poppy seems to be under the illusion that the bird can understand human language.
So, Penny got away.
I'm afraid she did.
We had suspected she might try to escape. I was stationed here by the lake's edge. I proved to be an ineffective guard. She took the boat.
Did she take the beetle with her?
Nope,
How do you know?
because it's right here.
It was still in the gramophone. I guess I scared her off before she had a chance to take it.
Poppy, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to give it back to your father?
No, I'm not. It doesn't belong to anyone. So, I'm going to put it on the ground and never bother it again. I think that's what she would have wanted.
Oh mein Gott, das ist wirklich nur so. Und nicht mal 10 Minuten. Oh, das kann doch nicht wahr sein. Okay. Ich muss gestehen, ich finde es richtig gut. Also, ich fand das Spiel jetzt richtig gut. Also, das war schon ziemlich cool. Ich mochte an dem Spiel besonders so diesen Grafikstil. Gut, die Rätsel, die waren halt nicht ohne. Ich wollte mich halt nicht so auf diese Hilfe da oben verlassen. Und musste dann halt ab und zu nachgucken. Ich gebe es gerne zu. Aber ich mochte den Grafikstil. Ich mochte die Geschichte, weil es wirklich bis zum Ende, fand ich, habe ich selber nicht gecheckt, wer jetzt der Mörder sein könnte. Bis wir so die geheimen Räume gefunden haben, dachte ich, okay. Ich habe wirklich dann am Ende gedacht, es könnte Hawkshaw sein. Aber dass Hawkshaw ja eigentlich Penny ist, what? Das habe ich nicht mitgekriegt. Ich habe auch nicht auf die auf die Dings geachtet. Auf die Stimme zum Beispiel. Aber wie geil ist das denn? Und dann kann man hier so gucken, wie man sich die gedacht hatte am Ende. Und wie sie am Ende dann rausgekommen ist. Oh, wie geil ist das denn? Ne? Wie man die sich so vorgestellt hat und dann so. Ich finde, die Zimmer waren schon ziemlich cool. Also so war das der Entwurf anscheinend, ne? Dass er dann so, also dass er doch schon so Penny mochte und liebte. Und wir haben alle Hinweise gefunden und auch die ganzen anderen Hinweise. Das finde ich sehr cool. Oh, die Nase. Ich hätte mir so sehr gewünscht, dass sich Flora einmal mit uns unterhalten hätte. Das wäre schon ziemlich cool gewesen. Aber okay. Ja. Ich sag auf jeden Fall Dankeschön fürs Zusehen. Ich hoffe, das Let's Play hat euch gefallen. Wir werden, glaube ich, Part 10 der Part 10 wird einfach länger. Wir schneiden das jetzt einfach zusammen, weil die 10 Minuten, das gönne ich. Dann ist der Part halt ein bisschen länger. Ist vollkommen in Ordnung. Es gibt die krasse Auflösung. Gut, ich sage auf jeden Fall Dankeschön fürs Zusehen. Wenn euch das Let's Play gefallen hat, dann gebt mir doch einen Daumen nach oben oder lasst ein Abo da. Ich würde mich sehr freuen. Und bis dahin sage ich Dankeschön fürs Zusehen und bis zum nächsten Let's Play. Bis dann. Ciao.